Very disappointed to GPT and Gemini, and I thought I would share what happened, but to be precise, it's best to look into the actual document, which I may put into the Google Doc, so that you can see the process clearly. But it's very simple. I have cautioned them many times, I don't know, for the last year or so, and they haven't changed much. They don't have a long-term memory, and they jump into conclusion, pushed by some kind of a objective function, perhaps due to the timing or budget constraint. What's the bottom line of what I see as the problem in a nutshell? Not having a long-term memory is one, but the essential thing is what I call CAPD, check, act, plan, do. You better learn from what you have done in the past and don't make the same mistake again. So check what has happened, act meaning think about what went right and wrong and what needs to be done, to analyze it, and then plan, check, act, plan, what to do, and then exercise that idea into the future. It's a basic process of, usually people call it PDCA, plan, do, check, act, but you don't want to plan first because you better check carefully what's going on and develop a plan. Otherwise, the worst case of syndrome is plan, do, plan, do. And maybe that's what's happening with AI. You have to go through the CAPD over and over. And if you see what they say they have learned, it's basically that principle. And that should be obvious if you look into the dialogue I had with ChatGPT. I had a similar dialogue with Gemini, but I may just omit not to post it. I thought that GPT is better, but I'm saddened. So it may be something to do with using the brain. And people talk about AGI or artificial superintelligence. At this rate of the change or progress, what I see does not reflect any of that. But my approach is mainly focused on the YouTube and related thing. So I don't know anything other than what I do. So there may be an issue, but this is a fundamental thing. So I doubt that they have figured out how to do with this, because that's something that I worked with a company. And if there's someone from Gemini or GPT or whoever related to AI, I'd be happy to talk a little bit, because it's kind of a sad story that I see the basic things not being done. So the point to remember is how to use AI with certain principle, which means you ought to know the principle, what it is, like a CAPD, and you to ask the right question. Keep on asking the question so that they can learn. I mean, you have to learn, of course. But basically what happens is that you may not need to learn because they can do the job. So it's the tool to do the job easier without your thinking. But if they don't do their job well with the CAPD, you're penalized. You're the customer, but they don't get it. And take a look at the case. Maybe if I have time, I'll summarize certain common failures, but I think that may help, because you want to use AI, you want to learn to use AI, and what it means that you have the basic principle clear in your mind and you can use that to live your life. So it's alignment of what you do to what they do, and that's the relationship that you need to develop. And when I talk about AI being the extension of brain, that's true, but it also point that our brain is to be connected to a heart. meaning not just stay in the brain, and when get stuck in the brain, you go to the core of your being to figure out as much as the law of nature is manifesting for us to live. So there's that creative source, the energy we have, and when we can relate to that, then the wisdom would pop up, and therefore, like Einstein, or even in the mini Einstein, the mini Einstein level, we can go through samadhi, Shila Samadhi Panya, right conduct, and then work on calm and quiet mind. And I mentioned this before, but Einstein's word, one of the ones that I like, is that people think he's smart, but he's not. He says he can stay with the problem longer, which is to stay with the problem in a state of samadhi is what I see it means, because when you stay with the problem long, which means you think everything you can think of, but you cannot go anywhere. But you still keep at it, and you have empty-minded state pretty much. But that's when, like, a dream may pop up, lucid dream, or some idea may pop up. The typical notion is on the horse, in the bathroom, or at the bed, when your mind is calm. But it doesn't have to be in those three locations, but you can do meditate, be quiet, and ask the right question. Keep on asking the right question. So that's basically it, very simple, but it just has to be experienced to learn the lessons and how to do it. And each of us, I believe, we need to have some skill to do that, as much as the AI itself to upgrade, to understand and practice this basic principle of check, act, plan, do. It's kind of like the same as the total quality management, orchestration of the processes put together and come up with a strategy and how to move forward and come up with a solution. And that's what AI is supposed to do. So that's just a little comment, but I thought I'll make this video so that I may have mentioned this before, but it needs to be reinforced. Otherwise, we keep repeating the same mistake, which is not what we want. So, thank you. And hope you have a good life with good problem-solving process, using AI not to be used, using your brain not to be used, and connected to your heart so that your core being is that creative source that brought us to this earth and benefit. You ride on it. Keep on being creative and help us to move forward. Thank you.